As I turn to your left-hand side, the whale will be down out your left door down below us, sir. Let me go past the sun glare so I can show it to you a little easier. It's just down below to your left. See it right down below? Okay, keep looking down over there. You'll see it. There it is. All right, we got some whale watching in. Perfect. And there's this point that sticks up at the very end of this ridge over here to our right front, which might look a bit familiar if you like musicals. How about the Bali High from the South Pacific? Filmed here in 1956 and still one of the favorite musicals of all time. And all the helicopters go offshore because of the residential area. People here have spent millions of dollars on oceanfront property. The last sound they want to hear is that of a helicopter going by every 5 minutes. So we're being neighborly. Mark Wahlberg's got a place here. Pierce Brosnan, Harrison Ford, Julia Roberts, Charo. Remember Charo from The Love Boat? The Coochie Coochie Girl? I actually had the privilege of working with her 28 years ago. And she was so sweet. She gave me a bunch of tickets and said, hey, come to the show. Well, I just happened to have my parents visiting me for the very first time in Hawaii. And halfway through the show, when Charo saw I was there, she jumped off stage, grabbed my dad, tore his shirt completely off, grabbed him by the back of his head, planted his face in the middle of her chest, and gave a world-class coochie, coochie, coochie she's so famous for. See the whales below to your right? They're taking a little dive down there. I didn't think my dad was going to ever fully recover. We can actually trace his stutter back to the same day. And ever since then, if you walked up to my dad and just said Charo, he'd start shaking again. He was having aftershocks. Some form of PTSD. You know, perfect something slapping dad. Yeah, you can see over there that point sticking out is the Kilauea Lighthouse. That's another great place to whale watch and bird watch. You'll find Laysan albatross, frigate birds with 7-foot wingspan, wedge-tailed shearwaters, white-tailed tropic birds. Mondays and holidays are the only days they're closed. And the Hanalei Bay. Hana means place. Hanalei, the place shaped like a flowered lake. Now you can't drive any further than Hanalei Bay because the road closure. And you can see it straight ahead just above Lumahai Beach. Look at all the red dirt. This is where the landslides came down across the road. They're letting only local residents twice a day and construction crews on this road. No one else is allowed. And growing around Hanalei, what looks like rice paddies is taro. It's a starch like a potato, which they boil and pound down into poi. Anyone sampled poi yet? You can always hang wallpaper with it. But if you mix it with pancake batter, it makes a delicious pancake. I was a little conflicted when I first got here. Well, when I was growing up in elementary school, my hands were slapped all the time for eating paste. Yeah, then I come to Hawaii and they encourage it. And we can see the Hanalei River curving around a big patch of green grass. That's a bison ranch. During the flood in April, about 30 bison escaped. They haven't caught them all. Never want to run into a bison out here in the wild either. The first reaction they have to seeing a person out here is to try to stomp you to death. And so if you see a bison out in the wild, stay far, far away. Liquid sunshine. It never actually rains. And this is Mount Namolokama. Namolokama means flows to the sea. The water flows down the mountain, then straight to the ocean. How would you like to go fishing in waterfalls? There's an unusual fish found here called a opu. Opu means belly. It's got a suction cup on its belly, allowing it to cling to rock and work its way right up the face of a waterfall. It's a delicacy in Hawaii. If you go to the fish market, they sell a opu up to $35 a pound, making it the most expensive catfish you'll ever try. That is exactly what it tastes like. I'm going to stick with steak, lobster, or prime rib at $35 a pound. I know a good place for prime rib. Have you heard of the Bull Shed? It's in the town of Kapa'a, right across from where you'll see Foodland with the McDonald's right across from it. Turn right instead of left into Foodland and you go to the ocean and you'll find the Bull Shed. My wife and I will go there and order one. One prime rib would pretty much fill a table. Yeah, it's about that thick, taking up half your plate. We'll eat that until we're full and have it for leftovers for the next 3 days. That's a lot of meat right there. Yeah, we follow the Hanalei River back to the source, Mount Waialeale. And along the way, you notice all the trees below with the bright green leaf? That's the state tree of Hawaii, kukui nut. Kukui means light or candle. This nut was burned as a candle. And the oil that's in the shell, a beauty product for the ladies of Hawaii. It would keep their hair shiny, their skin smooth. It's fragrant, that would be perfume. And it's edible. I would not recommend eating kukui nut. Well, if you do, you will make an amazing discovery. You just ate the world's strongest laxative. One nut, you're walking fast. 2 nuts, you break into a trot. And by 3, you're setting the new land speed record to a guava tree. It's the only known antidote for kukui nut in the wild. You find one of those trees, you'll find the other within 100 yards. How would you like to be dropped off at a waterfall and picked up later? Wouldn't that be fun? Making anyone thirsty? I would love to stand right there with that water pounding down. That would be very therapeutic. They say that Mount Waialeale is always staring at you. I think I know why. Look at that big eyeball staring us down right now. See it straight ahead? If that thing winks, we're out of here. Be a good place for a Visine commercial. It gets the red dirt out. And once a year, the Hawaiians would climb this ridge and follow it to the top of Mauialeale. The first who ever made it found a pond up there where the winds rippled the waters. Waialeale means the rippling waters. Now from here, we'll take a little trip into the crater of Mauialeale. On top is the Ilokai Swamp that actually gets all the water and distributes it even to the desert where we were looking at waterfalls earlier. It all starts from on top of this mountain. Welcome to the crater. And you see the water just kind of spills over. Some of the water, instead of coming down the mountain, is coming through the mountain through the porous lava. There's a place in the very back where it takes 100 years to filter through before coming out. See the water seep through the wall back there? That's what takes 100 years. And objects in the window are much farther than they appear. Anyone thirsty here? There's a company on Kauai that's tapped the water source back there from the other side, and they're bottling the water from the source. If you go to stores and see bottled water with the word Kauai in big letters, now you know where that came from. 7.9 pH, slightly alkalinic. It's the perfect drinking water. And personally, I think it's the fountain of youth. I really don't look 80, do I? See, we don't know what you're telling people, but they're buying Kauai water like crazy after your flight. And there's the sleeping giant. When you look to the ocean, you can see there's a ridge with a point in the middle. That begins the outline. That's his forehead, which goes left to his chin, and left to his chest where his arms are folded, down to the hips and the legs straight out. The legend is he ate too much poi, laid down to sleep it off. He's been there ever since. Today we call it Hawaiian paralysis. And you can experience that at any good Hawaiian luau. Also ahead, well, you see all the green grassy fields? That used to be all sugarcane. Today, mostly grazing area for cattle. And cows have a very unusual name. Does anyone know what Hawaiians call cows? How about peepees? That's right, cows are peepees. They got this name because the first cows were longhorns. They were brought as gifts to Kamehameha from George Vancouver in 1793. Before then, pigs roamed the islands. Hawaiians call pigs pua'as. When they saw the first longhorns, they were called pua'a pipi auhau, which translates to pigs with big iron ears. Over time, slowly it got reduced down to just peepee. Cows are peepees. Have you been to a restaurant since you've been on the island? You might have a waiter or waitress come up to the table and ask if you'd care for some poo-poos, hors d'oeuvres, appetizers. Well, let's say the hors d'oeuvres are made from beef. How appetizing does pee-pee poo-poo sound? It'll launch you right out the front door. You definitely want to learn just enough Hawaiian